What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything you need to know about on a daily basis, including the fourth stimulus package update, stimulus check update, money, investing, the stock market. We cover it all here on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed here to our YouTube channel, make sure to click the subscribe button down below as it's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also, thanks so much for hitting the like button for us down below. Also, on April 15th or before April 15th, it's a major stimulus deadline for tens of millions of Americans that we need to talk about in this video, and it could affect money directly in your pocket, or it will for tens of millions of Americans. We're going to be talking about that in this video, so stay tuned. Yeah, Russian President Putin says he's telling us, the United States and Western countries, that their sanctions will lead to food shortages and in the poorest regions of the world as well, and will cause migration to spike. Remember that Russia and Ukraine are called the breadbasket of the world and produce vast majorities of wheat, flour, and sunflower oil, and a large portion of food for the world. And here's what Putin is saying. Putin says these sanctions imposed by Western nations like the US and Europe, EU, and literally, there's dozens of countries that are providing sanctions on Russia, will lead to a global food crisis. We're actually starting to see this already here as the price of food and just raw food materials has been spiking here recently. It's part of why food prices have gone up. In addition to the price of gas and oil has made food prices go up here as well. Putin said that higher energy prices, literally like I just said, and fertilizer shortages would mean Western nations would have to print more money to buy supplies, which would cause food shortages in poorer countries. Quote, they will inevitably exacerbate food shortages in the poorest regions of the world, spur new waves of migration, and in general, drive food prices even higher, Putin said in a meeting on developing food production. Putin also suggested that Russia wouldn't export food to countries hostile to it, which at this point is like 90% of the world, because Russia has very few allies at this point. Putin says, quote, we will have to be more careful about food supplies abroad, especially carefully monitor the exports to countries which are hostile to us, which means support them, which, anybody that doesn't support them. Last week, Dmitry Medvedev, a former Russian president and senior security official in the country, also says Russia will not supply our products and agricultural products to our enemies. Quote, we will supply food and crops only to our friends. Remember, Russia is just a massive, massive size. Both Russia and Ukraine are major exporters of wheat and corn. Russia accounts for almost 17% of global supply of wheat, which makes it the largest exporter of the crop of wheat, according to ING. And Ukraine accounts for 12% of wheat and 17% of corn. So between Russia and Ukraine, they account for almost 30% of wheat alone. Yeah, quote, the war in Ukraine comes at a bad time for the world. And this is part of the reason why we're already starting to see rising prices in food at the grocery store, in addition to rising gas prices and oil prices. Because remember, everything that goes to the grocery store has to be shipped to the grocery store via a truck and a semi truck. Everything has to get transported to the grocery store, which costs gas or diesel, and we know the price of that has gone up. But remember, everything has to be made as well. Even if we don't buy a single grain of flour or corn or anything from Ukraine or Russia, which they account for 30% of the world's supply, it's still rising the cost of all this stuff. Okay, just like the cost of oil, gas is traded globally, and the cost of everything goes up globally. The same thing is with corn and flour and everything. So if the cost of a barrel of oil goes up globally. The same thing with the cost of flour, the cost of corn, the cost of everything, right? It's all traded on a global scale. So it's the exact same thing for flour, corn, and oil, all that stuff, right? So what happens is when Ukraine and Russia are dramatically affected, Russia says they're not going to sell any of their agriculture products to anybody who's not a friendly, which at this point is definitely not us, and mostly not 90% of the rest of the world. And Ukraine is having massive problems as well because they can't produce nearly as much as they were before because they're literally being attacked every day. And they're having a hard time even shipping it out of the country because, well, they're being attacked every day. Uh, for lack of a better term. Um, their supply constraints. I mean, you think we're having supply chain problems. Imagine what their supply chain problems are over there. Literal bombs being dropped on them. This is making the price of everything go up. Okay, and we've all kind of learned that here with what's happening with gas and oil. Even though we've stopped buying Russian oil, which only accounted for about 3 to 8% of our oil and gas, it's still sky high because even though we don't buy a drop of Russian oil, oil is a global price. Oil is a global price. Even if we had only American oil here, it would still be the same price because it's a global price. Exxon, Shell, BP, all these global oil companies, they're buying and selling their own oil that they drill out of the ground or out of the ocean. They're buying it and selling it globally. Okay. In fact, about 38% of our oil, it's anywhere from around 35 to 40% of our own US oil is sold and sent overseas to other countries. Okay. So we actually import oil and export oil. I know it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. We actually could probably just keep it all here at home and not need to buy any foreign oil, but it's not really just a President Biden or a former President Trump or former President Bush decision. It's the oil company's decision as well. They're the owners of the oil per se. They they're ultimately kind of the owners of the oil. I mean, they lease it from the government per se, but they really kind of make a lot of the financial decisions. Hey, we want to sell 10 million barrels of oil. We're going to keep this, it's all kind of a financial decision. So anywhere from like 35 to 40% of our oil gets actually sold and shipped overseas. It doesn't really kind of really matter to your pocketbooks, really, because what really matters to our pocketbooks is the price of oil and the price of gas. And this is kind of where we see what happens here is that the price of oil comes down, but the price of gas comes down very, very, very slowly. And these gas companies are just gouging us. They're taking advantage of us. And this is affecting everybody. It's affecting grocery store prices. It's affecting gas pump prices and inflation prices. Just out of control. Out of control. In fact, you can see here from Time magazine says the war in Ukraine is creating the greatest global food crisis since World War II, the United Nations says. Yeah, so this is, and honestly, we're starting to actually hear in the US of some food shortages as well. And the longer this war goes on, the longer this stuff is already going to be exacerbated. We're already starting to hear stories. I reported on this yesterday of an actual gas shortage in the upper regions in Mexico. So there's just all sorts of problems here because of everything going on. You see here directly from Reuters, Mexico suspends gasoline subsidy as U.S. drivers cross border for deals. You can see here Mexico, which has been subsidizing gasoline to soften price hikes, said on Saturday the policy would not apply in U.S. border regions this week, citing shortages as more Americans drive south to fill their tank. So, part of the upper regions of Mexico are actually dealing with gas shortages. So, we're dealing with supply chain issues on almost everything at this point, gas shortages and now food shortages. And a major billionaire supermarket owner, note the irony in that, a billionaire supermarket owner warns that food prices will, quote, continue to rise for the next few months. So, the next several months, he says, this is CEO John Katzmatidis said that food prices will soar another 10%. Yeah, so and that's why I said the longer this war goes on, all of this stuff is exacerbated. The price of food, the price of gas, the price of transportation, shortages. This is why so many people need help right now. So many people need help right now. Another major thing that's coming here very, very quickly is this date of April 15th, which is going to affect tens of millions of Americans. Actually, I have a new guest here. You can see my little guest who jumped up here. Oh, say hi. I know you have the cutest little voice. This is Snowy. Say hi, Snowy. I know you want to go roam around and play. I know you have to stay for 10 seconds. Okay, say bye-bye. Isn't he just the cutest little thing? To be young and free again. I know. But yeah, you could see here, the president needs to extend this on April or before April 15th here, or else tens of millions of people are going to be affected. Here's kind of what this means. Let me show this to you. You can see here stimulus bill era supplemental SNAP assistance is at risk of ending on April 15th if the Biden administration does not extend the public health emergency PHE declaration put in place during the pandemic. This was actually put in place all the way back by former President Donald Trump back in 2020. But this will affect Medicaid and SNAP beneficiaries, possibly even more people as well. You can see here since the pandemic began to affect the economy and prices started to increase, the U.S. Department of Agriculture granted waivers to certain states and territories, allowing for the issuance of emergency supplemental income to SNAP recipients. The extra money was conditional on a state issuance of emergency or disaster declaration. The majority of states and territories have done so and have been issuing extra SNAP benefits to EBT card recipients as a result, based on if the states wanted to pay extra money to help their residents. Okay, actually, I'll be doing probably an update on this here, probably later in the next video or two. Secretary of Health and Human Services Javier Becerra extended the declaration earlier this year on January 16th with an expiration date on April 15th. this year. That means if the measure is not extended once again, the supplemental SNAP money that millions of Americans have been receiving is at risk. The additional money can amount to about an extra $100 per month per person, which allows needy families to reach the maximum monthly benefits level depending on their state's rules and maximum. If your state gives the extra SNAP benefits. Without this supplemental income, families who still fall below the poverty line might still not meet the maximum monthly benefit. SNAP money, regardless of state or territory, is only allowable for purchases of fresh produce, fruit, and groceries at state. This means that the extra money is guaranteed to be used on food for families, and the money is not deposited into a discretionary account. Should the extra assistance not be renewed, the following states and territories will be impacted. You can see here, there's a lot. Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Georgia, Guam, Hawaii, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Hampshire, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Texas, Virginia, Washington, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. In terms of Medicaid, the designation of an ongoing public health emergency, this is for Medicaid, has allowed for broader delivery of benefits such as telehealth sessions and as well as prevention of active state Medicaid enrollment cancellation during the pandemic. Should the PHE designation be lifted, these benefits may no longer be protected. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people affected once they don't extend this anymore, which is currently set to expire on April 15th. April 15th. So the question here is, are they going to extend this? We still have a lot of states that are basically doing extra benefits for SNAP beneficiaries, extra money per month. It's around like $95 or $100 per month per person. Um, you know, and a lot of states are still doing that here. There's like 40 million people on SNAP or food stamp benefits or SNAP supplemental nutrition benefits. So and the longer they can extend this, the more stimulus benefits can go out in that form for food benefits. So and if you get extra money for food per month, it's more money in your pocket. So you can use that money for food, and then you can use that extra money to not have to pay for something else. You know what I'm saying? It's it's more money in your pocket one way or another. So definitely want to hope that is extended. I will keep you up to date here on that. Yeah. So and it's really getting close here because it's April 5th already, and they have to do that before April 15th. So yeah, I'm really not sure about on that because you would think that they I don't know, maybe they're not going to extend it. I don't know. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I will keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't yet. You can click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. After subscribing, click the bell icon next to the subscribe button, and this way you won't miss out on new videos. Remember, the new videos come out here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will keep you up to date here with everything you need to know about on a daily basis. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And you can click here to see my newest video on monthly stimulus check details and major Medicare changes as well. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.